Good evening. My name is Stephanie Kuntz, and it's my pleasure to welcome you tonight to honor the achievements and service of our alumni and students. Tonight we celebrate the spirit of servant leadership and strengthen the bonds with our alumni and students. We'll also reveal the recipients of this year's Outstanding Student and Tower of Excellence Awards. Joining us are alumni board members, former Tower nominees and winners, students, and many of the individuals who have supported our students and alumni throughout their time at Walsh University and beyond. Thank you for being here and for your support. Before we begin our festivities, we'd like to open our event as we do with all events here at Walsh University and recite the Pledge of Allegiance together. So will you please stand and join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. In a few minutes, we will start our program. However, before we do, I'd like to ask our Director of Campus Ministry, Walsh alumna and Tower finalist Claire Cordoni, to come forward and give the invocation. Claire?
Thank you, Stephanie. If you all want to take a posture that you are most comfortable with to pray, we'll begin in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the gift of today, for the gift of Walsh University and a place for us to come and grow intellectually in our mind and using our gifts, but also to grow in our heart, in knowledge of you and knowledge of self. We just pray in Thanksgiving for the students that have just given their all these last 4 years, and the ones we are honoring today, and all the students that have come before us and all that will come after us. We just thank you for a gift of community and family and faith in this space, and we just ask you would continue to grant the increase, and that we would continue to look to you in all that we do. And we pray all of this through the most holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Claire. It is now my privilege to introduce our alumni panelists who have embodied servant leadership in their lives and careers. First, I'd like to introduce Jaden Baxter, a servant leader whose commitment to community engagement is evident in everything he does. As the special assistant to Mayor Bibb of Cleveland and a community engagement specialist, Jaden dedicates his efforts to creating a more inclusive and equitable environment for all residents. His passion for social justice and equity is rooted in his faith, as he was raised in a home centered around service and ministry. Jaden's work in the mayor's office includes launching the Junior Mayors Association, a program that empowers youth by giving them a platform to share their ideas for improving the city. His leadership and mentorship help guide the next generation of change makers. A proud 2023 graduate of Walsh University, Jaden has always been driven to make a difference, whether through his leadership roles on campus or his dedication to social justice. As a student, Jaden served as an RA, was part of the Leaders in Social Justice group, served as president of the Black Student Union, and played football all 4 years. He was also named Homecoming King and received the Tower of Excellence Award for the class of 2023. He believes his purpose is bigger than any achievement and that his path is guided by a higher calling. Please join me in welcoming Jaden Baxter, a passionate community leader. It's now my pleasure to introduce Andrew Schwalik, a true entrepreneur and dynamic force in the business world. A proud 2016 Walsh University alumnus, Andrew has always had a passion for starting and building things. After earning his master's from Trinity College Dublin, he went on to launch a wide range of businesses, from an ice cream shop and a minor league soccer team to a sandwich shop, pizza shop, laundromat, and even an ad agency on Lake Erie. Beyond his entrepreneurial ventures, Andrew is also the head soccer coach at Terra State, driven by his love for the game. But as much as he loves business and soccer, his greatest joys are personal. Marrying his incredible wife Rachel, who is also a Walsh alum, becoming a new dad to his son Murphy, who's here tonight, and might be the youngest event attendee we might have had in recent years that I have seen, and co-founding The Garage, a space dedicated to helping Walsh students learn about entrepreneurship, and gain hands-on experience in building exciting projects. And you were here last night, right? Speaking with the garage? Yeah. Welcome back again. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Schwalik, a Tower of Excellence Award winner, visionary entrepreneur, devoted father, and inspiring leader.
Swords up!
And now for Erin Clark Riegel, a dedicated nurse and compassionate philanthropist. Erin graduated from Walsh University in 2012 with her BSN and began her nursing career in the medical intensive care unit at Cleveland Clinic. After 3 years, she transitioned to a career as a travel nurse, working in various medical, surgical, neurological, and cardiac ICUs across the country. She currently serves as a staff nurse at Akron General Cleveland Clinic's Emergency Department in Stowe. In addition to her nursing career, Erin co-founded Love in Neglected Communities, also known as Link Worldwide, in 2012 after volunteering in Kenya. This 501c3 nonprofit is dedicated to supporting neglected communities, helping them overcome hardships and thrive. Link Worldwide recently celebrated the completion of a Catholic primary school in Awasi, Kenya, providing education for 61 orphaned and vulnerable children. Erin has dedicated over a decade of her time and energy to Link Worldwide's mission and is excited to continue her work in making a meaningful impact on communities in need. Please join me in welcoming our 2017 Young Alumni Leadership Award winner, Erin Riegel, a nurse, humanitarian, and true advocate for positive change. And now I'd like to introduce the 7th president of Walsh University and this evening's moderator. Swords up.
Swords up. Thank
Here it
you.
comes.
Swords up! Swords up! Swords up! Okay, we can give them this mic. Is it? So welcome everyone. Great to have you here. Welcome home. So I love the fact we're going to hand it all the way down. We'll start with Jaden down there. We'll start with the young guy. That they come up here and you have to sit here while they read about you. So it's like an out-of-body experience because it's how it's going to be after we're dead, but we're not going to be there. It's very uncomfortable. So it's great to see you guys suffering through that. Welcome to my world. So I want all of us to think today as we have this conversation about kind of where we sit and where we are. So Jaden's representing to all of us sort of that early career. Okay, and then we have Andrew that's got that early to mid, and then we sort of have approaching mid-career. Now, where's Murphy? Murphy, where did Murphy go, Andrew?
He might be eating.
Okay, he might be eating. So actually, I think we have someone younger than Murphy. So Murphy, you're the old guy in the crowd today. There he is back there. But let's give a swords up to Murphy in the back. Okay?
Swords up.
Swords up. Swords up. Okay, so really super, super excited to have you here. Super, super proud of what you're doing with your Walsh name tag on. And we're proud of these students who are now thinking towards where you're at, and we're thinking a little bit about where they are and the journey they're about to go on. So before we get into just some thoughts or some questions, I'm wondering if you guys can each just give us sort of the 90-second elevator pitch on, Jaden, what are you doing today? Tell us about this role you have with the mayor.
Well, thank you. First, I would like to say I'm surprised I'm here. Never thought I'd get welcome back, but especially after everything. But
you should have been here when we beat Ashland, man.
I saw that online. Great job, football. But I would like to start off by saying it's an honor to be even sitting on this panel. So thank you so much for having me. What I'm doing at the city is really I'm trying to spread equity in any way I can. I'm trying to serve our residents of Cleveland by providing the most efficient and dedicated city service. So a little bit about my program, JMA, that I started last year, is we're serving the local students, primarily CMSD students, and we're kind of trying to teach them how local government works, right? So I went to a community meeting at a school and they told us that they felt a disconnect between the city and themselves, right? So what we're trying to do is we're really trying to just bridge that gap. So a lot of times kids have all these ideas, all these mentionings about what they would like to see in the city, and it's our job to listen. But when you have a disconnect, you can never really get what they want, and then a city will never reflect what they want. So this whole program is just for listening, getting them in front of the mayor, getting them FaceTime, but also letting them work together and showing that even whatever political climate we are in, it's about really networking and it's about collaborating, and that's the most important thing.
All right, Jaden, awesome. Andrew, sir. What is it you're doing today?
So I wear many hats every single day, but one of those hats is being an entrepreneur. So that means I took maybe a little bit more of an unconventional route to a career. So my wife and I, we run a sandwich shop, a laundromat/wash company, and a pizzeria. So the day-to-day is quite different from managing accounting. Yesterday I had to get a bird out of our pizza shop that got stuck in there, and everything in between. So that is what the day-to-day looks like, growing those businesses and doing that now with a young son. So figure all that out. But I do want to give a shout out to Erin. So I don't think she even knows this, but you spoke to one of the classes when I was a freshman about Link, and that kind of started the entrepreneurial vibes about getting interested in that. So
Swords up!
Thanks for having me in here.
Okay, Aaron, just a quick little, like, everybody, what are you doing today? Like, what's your day?
Also wear several hats, but in my professional life, I am a nurse. I currently work PRN or as needed in a satellite emergency room. And then my side volunteer work for fun is running Link Worldwide. So we, like they mentioned, we opened our school in Kenya in January. So a lot of different things between working with our team in Kenya, looking at how our students are performing, how to improve how we're serving students there in the community, and then also working with updates on construction, figuring out we still need to drill a well, so working with the community in Kenya. And then on the US side, working with our volunteers here to make sure our fundraising efforts are good, our donor relations is ongoing, marketing, things like that as well. So again, lots of different hats, but it's kind of exciting, and I learn something new every day. So.
Okay, so 3 completely different perspectives of what's going on day to day. So now let's think about where they are actually more aligned as opposed to separate. So if we could start with you, since you have the mic, thinking about this solely through the lens of your professional life, right? The theme that Steph has for us today is embodying servant leadership. Our students have been thinking about this, we've been talking about this from a student perspective looking forward, and Steph's asking us to think about this for life. So if you can kind of think about it from your professional lens looking backwards. So what is servant leadership to you through that professional lens?
I would say, in my professional field, right, it's easy for me as a nurse, and then my work with Link of, my whole focus is serving someone else. So, of course, completing my job, passing medications, performing procedures on patients, but sharing that compassion and love, and really serving and putting my patients above myself, as well as our communities in Kenya above myself. Like, work can be difficult, but kind of taking the personal, it's not about you, it's about your patient, or about, again, the communities that you're serving. It allows you to, I would say, to do a better job of not focusing on what am I getting out of this, or is this difficult for me, but really focusing on how can I serve this other person, and also understanding where they're coming from and their background can make it a little more manageable as well, and easier to serve them.
Awesome, thank you. Sir?
So we learned a lot about servant leadership and how to instill that when I was here in my education. I always thought it was so funny that because as a leader, aren't you supposed to be a servant and helping other people? So why do we have to tag that on the front of it? Unfortunately, in this world we do. But diving deeper into servant leadership is awesome. So from my perspective in the business entrepreneurial world, all of the businesses that we run are a part of a community. So when I look at servant leadership through that lens, it's 2 things. It's 1, trying to make the world a better place by doing what we do, by serving others, and then the other piece of that is creating value. So you think, okay, we got a pizza shop. How do we do servant leadership through pizza? But 1, we are part, again, of a community, so that we're offering a service, we're having a good spot for people to get together, to be a part of that community, to share stories, build relationships, and then on top of that, creating that value of being a part of that equation by making a good product, by making sure that we're thinking community first, when we're doing all of these things, when we're making these decisions, so that we're helping support the other businesses that are around us as well, helping the community thrive, and helping really people build that community and build those relationships.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thank you. So when I think of servant leadership, I really just think of integrity. And as we all said, we all have a community in which we need to serve. And when you serve this community, especially when you deal with taxpayer dollars, it's really about making sure that you're allocating your time right. It's about making sure that you serve the residents with such integrity and vigor, no matter how much we get paid, because I need to wear different hats because, wow, that check is not the biggest. It's really all about what you make of it, and it's about leading with a cheerful heart, God said he wants a cheerful giver. So when you're serving the residents, are you serving them with a smile or are you serving them with an attitude? It's all about really what you bring to the table and that you're making sure that you're serving every day with that passion that we have. So that's what it means to me.
Okay, so that's the positive side of servant leadership. So when our new students come to campus at their orientation, one of the messages that I have for them is this experience is going to be hard. You're likely to get knocked down, and the secret is to get back up. So we've all experienced that in this room, and I'm wondering if you can offer for us, we'll start with Jaden, have you had any setbacks, any adversity in trying to be a servant leader in that professional way, and then how did you handle it?
Well, failure. Yeah, I had my fair share of failure. I have so many stories, especially working here. One, I remember I worked for Dr. Hostler in the Career Center, and I came late several of times. And my hair was horrible.
This is not confession.
This is just real life, So I remember I had to come here, I had to learn what professionalism meant. And afterwards, Dr. Hostler, I can't wait to shout you out even more as I'm on this panel, but she got me connected with the city of Cleveland, and the failure that I got is I didn't get the first job I applied for. So right outside it was raining, I started crying a little bit, I had my little moment, but really what made me stand back up is the people I was surrounded with, and especially my faith. My father being a pastor, he really instilled in me that Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to bless you and to give you an expected future. So even though I couldn't see the plan, I knew that God had one for me. I just had to trust that plan. So it was really the people speaking life into my situation and knowing that even though it was just a moment, I can learn from it. And from that moment, I'm still in the job that I applied for now. So, it all worked out.
Awesome, thank you. Andrew?
Yeah, failure happens. So I know at the very beginning they kind of list off all the cool stuff that we did. It doesn't include all the cool stuff that I tried that did not work out. So along the way, you're gonna fail at stuff, and that is totally okay. It's how you respond to that. Every failure should be a learning experience, not just a failure. If you don't learn from it, then it's a true failure. That's what they taught us in all of our entrepreneurial classes that I took here. And it's absolutely true. And that's true on the entrepreneurial front. It's true on the career front. No matter what path you take, like you were just talking about too, you apply for jobs, some jobs you don't get. That happened to me along the way. I've sent out multiple resumes, and maybe if I would have gotten those jobs, I wouldn't have the businesses I have today because I would have been working in those jobs. So no matter where you go, what you do, those failures will happen, but again, I just try to say, learn from them, and it'll push you into something new, something cool, something exciting. Now, the way to get through that adversity, faith, family, friendship, and those good character values that you build while you're here. Live with all of that, and no matter what adversity you go up against, you'll be good to go.
Okay. Mom?
I agree completely with everything that they said. Tons of failures, and I realizing myself I am a type A personality, and I didn't know that. Realizing that you are not in control of all the little details that you would like to be in control of in life, especially when applying for jobs or, especially in your professional field, we make mistakes. In the medical field, that can be very scary, but realizing if you do ever make a mistake, the integrity part of acknowledging it and learning from it and moving forward. With my nonprofit work, again, I do not have control over pretty much anything, honestly. But you work hard, you work on these characteristics. I would say especially, relationships with others help build you up, and faith significantly. You need to have faith in order to overcome and to trust. Like, yes, God does have a plan. I don't know what it is. And learning patience and trust during all of it. Definitely focus on those things as you go throughout school of building these relationships with each other and with God as well.
Okay, love that. Awesome. So, as you're thinking about this role of being a servant leader while you're doing your professional work, what does it mean to also be a follower?
It's imperative to be a leader. You have to follow not only, you're not necessarily going to be the top person, and even if you are the top person in a company, you are always learning from your colleagues. Knowing, a true leader knows when, and this is something especially for myself, when I started Link, I don't know, I'm a nurse, right? I do not know marketing stuff, I do not know donor relations, I don't know all these things, but I'm learning, and they're realizing that there are other people within our organization that are significantly better and can teach me, and that's good. I do not need to be perfect at all of the things. So really highlighting your colleagues and, in your friendships, your relationships, each other's gifts and what they can bring to the table, and really lifting them up and allowing them to lead you, I think is really important in order to then be a better leader yourself.
Thank you, Aaron. Andrew?
To be a good servant leader, you have to be a perpetual student. So you should always be learning, even after you graduate these hallowed halls of Walsh University, because in your career, you're not going to know everything off the bat. Totally normal. You go in, you start learning, you meet people, you make connections, and you just continue to try to build your knowledge base. And that's through your career, that's through your faith life, that's through your family life, that's through every avenue that you pursue in your life. Always keep learning. And then that means, like you're talking about too, specifically on the entrepreneurial front, if you own a business someday, my objective is to hire people that are smarter than I am. The ultimate goal is to have a team around me where I am the dumbest person, because everyone else is teaching me things all the time. They know their specifics. Like, there are people that know marketing better than I do. There are thankfully people that know how to handle finances better than I do and do all of the accounting. So that's ultimately the goal, to learn from those other people so that they can continue to help me on my journey as well. And then hopefully I can shine some lights on some things like, hey, maybe one of our team members is just about to become a parent. I can tell them what it's like having a newborn in their life.
Well, when you work for the city, you always are going to have to follow somebody. Either that's the mayor or if that's the taxpayers, which we're always going to have to follow. But another failure story for you. When I first got to the city, I thought I knew everything, right? I read a book about homelessness. I was like, oh, I'm going to solve homelessness right off the bat, right? So I went in there, I got a committee together. I said, hey guys, we're going to solve homelessness, right? This is all new topic. I said, they did it in Houston, we can do it here in Cleveland. So I got this. Failed miserably, by the way, but it taught me that you need to learn, for one, how leadership goes, right? So I never even got an opportunity to really work with the mayor or see how actual people did it, right? I didn't know how to really start a committee or have a proper agenda. I just thought I just knew everything, right? So that moment really, for one, humbled me, knowing that you are always going to have somebody or something that you're going to have to follow and learn from, as he said, always being a perpetual learner. But it also taught me that, okay, you're not the smartest in the room, and that's perfectly fine, because that's what God gave us. We are all going to work collaboratively, you know the word, but we're all going to work together to accomplish a goal. So just being a leader or a follower is very important.
Okay, thank you. So, one thing they've all talked about in almost every answer is they've used that word relationship. So thinking about this early career, early to mid-career, can you talk to us through that professional lens about the power of relationships that you've experienced?
Absolutely. So I want to go back to Dr. Hostler. I think that's one of the most, if anything at Walsh, the most important thing I've learned is people, right? And it's talking to the colleagues and professors and the teachers and making sure that you make these connections worth it. So Dr. Hostler was so important in my trajectory of even being in the office I am. It's because she knew someone that worked at the city that I got connected, that then that led to an interview that I didn't get. But because she made that initial connection, she called me back and then we talked about a fellowship, and that's how I'm here today. So if it wasn't because of these connections and Mike back there, you know, just being so pivotal in my professional career, I don't think I would be anywhere near this. So please prioritize the people, because you can always learn, but sometimes you don't get a second chance with people. So.
Absolutely, 100%, exactly what he has to say. I'll just reiterate it in a little bit of a different way. He called out two people who are still here from when I was a student and had a great relationship with them as well, that actually got me inspired to travel abroad and take some of those global experiences, which then have helped me along my journey of what I do now, which is absolutely amazing. So the relationships that you build here are maybe more important than what you learn in the classroom. Teachers, don't yell at me for saying that, because the professors, you are all the reason as to why we do what we do now. All of the knowledge that you share with us, we love it and we appreciate it, but really that extra relationship that you all have shared with us has really made the difference. And I still look around at professors now that I had when I was here, and it was so amazing. So end of the day, go to class, learn all the stuff you can learn, but make sure you take the time to have those relationships with your professors, with your students, with all the faculty and staff around here, which I still have awesome relationships with people that I'm looking at around the room too. And the relationship piece is amazing, a little peek behind the curtain. I have a list of things that I look at every morning during my morning routine. And one of those is that something I should always do, have cool relationships with cool people. So prioritizing relationships is something that I try to remember every single day, because it is vital and it's part of the human experience that makes life really awesome.
Again, I agree with what they said. I think looking back, I wish I would have done a better job at building more relationships here. I have many relationships still that same, like teachers, professors, educators that are here, and friendships. So focus on that. Don't be too caught up in the study. You need to study, do well, but like they said, the relationships are vital to your future. But then when you do get into the professional field as well, realizing that even these very short relationships can last a very long time. As a nurse, it's been amazing. I've cared for patients who then I later see out in the world. Or I have former educators or other employers that end up being my patient. At baseline, be a good human, be kind, because you never know when you're going to interact with those individuals again. And it can be difficult, especially if maybe someone's having a really bad day and that's the first time you meet them and that's your first impression of them. But remember that you don't always know what someone else is going through and experiencing, but always give your best, because again, you don't know where that relationship may be. And I would say too, with what Jayden was saying about, he didn't get the first job that he applied for, you may have a relationship that, again, it kind of flits by, it's just maybe a mentioning of somebody, and then years later, that relationship ends up flourishing and turning into something like a new job or a supporter. In our instance with Link Worldwide, I've met people like, hey, you should meet this individual, they could tell you how to do this or that. We maybe have a short conversation, and then again, years down the line, they end up becoming a pivotal part in helping us move forward. So again, always give your best in your relationships with each other, but you never know and where they're going to go. And it's pretty, especially in my work with Link Worldwide, it's pretty incredible to look back and see the spider web that has kind of formed over the years. of one person connecting me with somebody else. So just keep that in mind as you move forward in your professional life.
Okay, so 2 more things real quick, and we'll see if they have some questions. So as you set aside your professional life for just a second, and set aside your personal family life for just a second, what are your thoughts on how much room do we have in our lives to serve others that aren't associated with either our families or our work?
There's not enough time in the day to do all the things. Can you say that again?
Yes. Are our lives big enough to serve others outside the home and not at work?
It is. I would say family should always be, God is number one, family is number two. It's very important to be a servant leader in whatever profession you go into. However, I would say that if you find in your life that things at home are not where they should be, you could be doing all these incredible things in your profession and serving and doing a great job, but your family life could be lacking, or your spiritual life could be lacking. In order, I think, to be the best servant leader in your professional life, you have to prioritize your faith and your family. But it is possible. And again, depending on what kind of profession you go into, your family can be very involved with serving. And you're going to go through different phases in life. You're young and you're mid, and now you're older. Right? There's a lot of phases. So, it's going to change, and whatever area that you're in at a particular time, don't think that, okay, this is always going to work this way. You may have to adjust maybe your working hours or different volunteering that you do outside of the family, if you're involved in your church, things like that. God has plans for you, and some of us may have very grandiose, I want to do all of these things. You can't do all the things, and God maybe doesn't want you to do all the things. But if you have a strong relationship in your faith, you'll have a better sense of where you're supposed to be going and where you should be focusing your time and your gifts at that particular time in your life. But just know that it's, I think, constantly going to be changing, but there will never be a shortage of areas in life that you can give your gifts and that you can provide servant leadership to others.
Thank you.
You prioritize where you want to spend your time. So, like Aaron was saying, absolutely. Faith, spiritual life, prioritize that, get that on solid ground. Family, I have a 2.5-month-old son, first child, no idea what we're doing. We're just surviving, figuring it out as we go, which is great. I feel like that's how parenthood works a little bit. Thankfully, I have a lot of great people in the room who have given me advice. Our parents have been awesome as well. But prioritize your family as well, get that on solid ground. And you absolutely are able to get outside professional, get outside family, and then to help make a difference in your community to serve others. And hopefully, what you're gleaning from your time at Walsh University is that just your character and who you are as an individual is a servant leader. So your base default, your everyday, is being a servant leader to others. You're providing that value, you're trying to make the world a better place just because that's who you are. So overall, there's always space for whatever you want there to be in life. But you just have to prioritize that, and then again, have that character, keep those values with you no matter where you go, and then you'll be one of the best servant leaders around, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just really have to wholly agree with everything they said. I think you put value in what you want, right? So you have plenty of hours in the day. My father always says you have 24 buckets in the day. What are you going to do to fill them up, right? So I think a lot of us, especially now with our society, we think that the time just got away from us or whatever, what have you. But you do what you value, right? So a lot of times I do work with my church, I do volunteer work, and it really, what it does for me is it fills me back up to go back up to serve, right? Serving others replenishes you, right? So you do what you want and then you do what you value. So make sure that service is at the front of your values and you'll make time for it.
Okay, for those of you at home, you might not know who Dr. Hostler is. So I'm going to invite Dr. Hostler up to moderate the Q&A with the audience, so you'll know who she is. So now, completely unscripted, Dr. Hostler.
All right, well, that's fun. So I have to go with the flow here. So, hi, everyone. So Q&A for our panelists, if anyone has any questions for them. Yes, Izzy.
Yeah, you guys have all mentioned collaboration and kind of building those networks in order to be able to continue to go through professional and personal goals. Do you guys have any good advice or just guiding principles to kind of make those meaningful networks?
I will give you a list. Step 1, have a business card or some type of unique way that you can connect with others to give them contact information so you can stay connected. 2, ask them questions so that you get to understand them a little bit more, and then that also makes them feel excited to tell them about what they do. So those are good first 2 steps, and then follow up is the 3rd one. So have that initial conversation at an event, somewhere you've gone, something like this, have a conversation, get their contact information as well, follow up, and then just check in. And then I am like an organizational nerd, so in my phone, I have all of my contacts, and then in the notes section of the contacts, I have a little date, and then I put when I had a conversation with them and what it was about. So like, if Dr. Hosler and I had a conversation today, we were talking about our families and the cool stuff. After this, I'm gonna go into her contact and say, oh, cool, today, on this day, I had this conversation with Rachel, we checked in about our family. So that's a little maybe insane to go that deep with your connections, but it's awesome so that you can remember, have that personal CRM. But yes, I'm glad you understand the importance of connections because it is so vital, and just something as simple as her coming into a classroom to tell me about Link Worldwide got me interested in doing entrepreneurial things. So those small little connections, those instances of creativity that you can share with other people, yeah, good to stay connected because then you can follow, like she was talking about earlier, down the line, you never know where that relationship could go.
Just say I agree. I thought I had a much better memory than I did, which I don't. So absolutely make notes. I learned this later because there are many, many times where same thing, I'm like, okay, I know this person. How do I know this person? And I have to like look back through my phone, look through my list on my computer of like, okay, where did this person and I talk? And it's been incredible. Like literally years later, like met someone in passing, and then 7, 8 years later, they show back up and they want to get involved with Link. And I'm like, I know you, but how, were you my patient? I can't remember. So absolutely keep a list, figure out how you want to do that. And I would say a big thing, definitely following up. When you meet someone, shoot them an email or a text message after, just again, reiterating, you know, it was nice meeting you or whatnot. I think it goes a long way.
That's pretty next level. I'm impressed. I tend to, I have like my superpower is I remember pretty much everybody I meet and their names. So I didn't know this was like a thing that I just figured like, why don't people remember me? What's wrong with me? So over the years, I've just learned, I just reintroduce myself and I'm like, oh, we met on this day and this is how we met, right? So I think you can do that. People are open to that too. Like if you meet them and you like see them 2 years later and you're like, oh, I never like reintroduced myself. You can just reintroduce yourself.
Please.
People are like so open to it for sure.
Yes, because they also might be thinking the same thing, like,
Yes.
I know you
Yes.
from somewhere. And honestly, even the same thing of like students, right, after me that I would meet out later, literally run into in a restaurant. Like I was just recently, but shame on me, I didn't say anything. But I just saw someone recently in Chicago walk by and like, I am pretty sure that kid went to Walsh. I have no idea what his name is, but definitely do that because they could be thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to inject here. So when someone says, hello, I'm Tim Collins. Luke, don't say hi. Say, hi, I'm Luke.
Yeah.
So say your name back right there. Because they're probably thinking the same thing. I think I know that face. So when someone says hello, say your name.
Thank you.
There you go. All right. Other questions for our panelists? Luke?
So, failure and then rising above failure was a big topic that we talked about earlier. What advice do you have for that first step after rising up again? And then what was your guys' first step?
Step one, you can cry a little bit. It's okay. So yeah, failures happen. Some are harder to get over than others, so it's a totally normal part of the process. But that first step after that, so I treat every failure literally as a learning experience as opposed to more of a failure. So I will sit down with a piece of paper and write down notes from the experience of what I was trying to do, why it didn't work, write down the information of, okay, this is what I tried, this didn't work out super well, I tried this, maybe this got a little bit of a result, and then at the end, I can kind of digest, oh, this was the experience, and I can now have a clear vision of why this didn't work out, and now I have a game plan of saying, all right, this didn't work, now let's try this. So that is really my process of like getting back on the horse and then going out and trying the next business or the next thing I'm working on.
So I would say, for one, I think it also depends what type of failure you went through. For me, one of my other big failures was I was the BSU president, and before that, I was a senator. So when I was a senator, first time ever, I missed a meeting, a student government meeting. I remember Dr. Long called me, and she was like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Oh, I'm in Willard," like not doing anything. But the thing that taught me was organization, right? So after that step and after that initial call, I had to realize that you need to internally fix things that you're doing to properly meet the need of what you need from your community, from your group, whatever. So that's a big one, is for one, learning from your mistake and making sure that you're not doing it repeatedly. That's probably the first step, is self-realization and self-reflection. But also if it's a failure that's out of your control, right? Like I didn't get the job. I think taking a big step back and realizing it's not as big of a deal as you think it is also very powerful to me. Just realizing that, hey, this might not have gone this way, but I'm going to be okay, right? Like you're young, you have so much time ahead of you. So realizing and putting in perspective that you still have a lot of time, but also it's not about how many times you fall, it's about how many times you get back up that matters.
I would say similar, right? If you make a mistake, taking that time to look, okay, why did this happen? Some is definitely your fault or your control. Other things are outside of your control. In my professional experience, I remember my first year of nursing, I gave the wrong dose on the medication, and it was terrifying to me. But as soon as I realized it, immediately went to the other nurse, talked to the doctors. The patient was fine. Writing a report up in the medical world, you can write a SIRS to show, okay, why did this happen? And at the time, I wasn't completely comfortable with their charting system, so that was part of it. But realizing, okay, I'll never make that mistake again, right? And taking the time to make sure I learn everything to prevent that from happening again. Especially with Link, a lot of it is outside of my control, and realizing that definitely had many tears and moments of frustration, but realizing, okay, what can I control and how can I learn from this? And then I would say too, even in relationships and in life, sometimes it can be hard to realize maybe where you need to grow. So knowing individuals in your life, friends or family, or colleagues who could give insight as to maybe how you can grow. And sometimes I think when we make mistakes, we might want to go to the friend who we know is going to be like, oh, it's fine, or back you up, but it's good to have individuals in your life who can help be realistic with you and help you realize paths that you can go down maybe to grow and improve from where you've maybe had a hard time.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I see that a lot with young professionals. They're afraid to admit that they messed up. They're just like, oh gosh, they've spent all 4 years towards this and now they're in this, and it feels like they're starting all over again. But we've all been through it and we're really understanding. And if you're just truthful and upfront, it's going to go way better than if you're like, try to hide your mistake. So that's really good advice.
And you'll feel much better too. Like if you are not truthful about what you've done, you know, you're going to hold on to that for a very long time. Like, just mistakes happen, you know.
All right, so if we could give our panelists a round of applause for their advice. I think we had a couple more questions. I'm sure they'll be here afterwards, and you can head up to ask them questions. So I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Dumpy for the next phase of this.
Terrific. All right, thank you, Rachel. Well, in my role, this is one of the most delightful things I get to do in the last several years, each year, which is to announce the outstanding student. So before I do that, I want to give you a little bit of context about what this award is. So the outstanding student is a purely academic award, and I weigh in on this with the deans and with the program directors. We're looking for a student who is not only academically excellent, but has rounded that with different kinds of elements that take their academics and sometimes apply it. It might be a research project. It could be that they're taking 140 credit hours of really hard courses. It could be that they're doing honors on top of that. It could be that they're involved in projects where they take their academic knowledge and apply it on campus. For example, in this case, with the SMIP, the Student Managed Investment Portfolio, and the CFA, the Certified Financial Planning Group. So the student we look at is someone who meets criteria. They may be doing all kinds of other really cool things on campus, but we focus in on the academics. And so this year, that particular student is Sam Krakowski. And Sam was just amazing. He, looking at all the criteria, he checked every box, and in talking with the deans and talking with the chairs and others on campus, he was known by everybody. He wasn't just in the business school. Other people across campus knew of him, and they agreed that he was the man. So I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that. And you see a picture of Sam up there? There he is. And this is a bit of a bio on him. What I was really impressed with is throughout the different components of what he did and such was a theme of humility. And when I met him, I felt it immediately. And to me, that's awesome. When you're at that caliber and you still retain humility, it's just terrific. So where is Sam? Is he here tonight? There, come on up here, please. Congratulations. You want to say anything real quick? Just a couple words real quick?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I was not prepared to speak.
Okay.
Either was Dr. Haas.
Okay. So the main takeaway that I would have from my last 4 years being a student here is that achieving academic excellence is not possible without everybody in this room, everybody who's helped me along the way. 4 years at Walsh have meant a lot of different people touched my lives in many different ways, whether it's helping me with extra credit on a project to keep that academic excellence going when I really needed it at the end of the wire, or whether that's on the baseball field. Professor Sank, who couldn't be here today, helping me in many different capacities through financial challenges, and also for honors thesis and 2 different competitions that we did. So it's been a great time being here, and it's been amazing, and Walsh has really become a home away from home. I think about the fact that I won't be living here anymore soon, and it's kind of crazy. I'll probably be walking through the GLC next year at some point, doing some work just to be back, but I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for the award. I have loved my time here.
Thank you very much, sir. All righty. And the formal award will be presented later at a couple of other events that we'll be having as well. Rachel, please.
All right, so now I have the distinct honor of presenting our Tower of Excellence Award. And so I am going to introduce you to our top 5 finalists. So the Tower of Excellence Award is our most prestigious award that we offer each year to, and it really highlights outside the classroom commitment and service. So we're talking about that servant leadership. That's exactly what we're talking about here. And just even before the event, I was saying to Mrs. Collins, like, oh, are the students nervous? And she said, no, this is what they do. That's a servant heart. They don't do it for the award. And that truly is our top 5. They do this because they do it with a servant heart, and they believe in what they do for the good of our community. And I just, that wraps it up for us. So I'm honored to present the top 5 to you. They each have a bio that you'll see up here, but I'm gonna share a little bit about them, a personal touch. I think that's what makes Walsh special. And so I'm just gonna share, sort of what stands out to me in this process. So they all completed applications, and then the top 5 interviewed with a committee. And so there was a long process in this selection, and so I'm really proud of these top 5 and what they've accomplished. So I'm going to invite Christy Campbell up. She was our committee chair, and she is going to share in the celebration. So first, I would like to introduce Marquette Fikes. So Marquette is one of our top 5. Come on up. So I said my superpower is remembering when I meet people. Marquette probably doesn't remember this, but I met Marquette when he was a freshman. I went to present in a class. It was his FYE class. And I was presenting on career, and I just thought, wow, this student is interesting. I bet we're going to see a lot from him, and we have. He then volunteered in the library, worked in the library. He would say hello to me every time I walked by, but he's been so involved on campus and just really a genuine leader, someone that his peers look up to, someone that faculty and staff look to, and just a true, he just exemplifies everything that Walsh stands for and the Tower Award stands for. So thank you, Marquette, for all you've done. Next is Luke Goers. So Luke, he is just exceptional. I can't tell you how many times I hear from a faculty or staff member that Luke is helping, and just in ways that you wouldn't even expect. And last year in campus ministry, he single-handedly put together Stations of the Cross for us. And it was such an unexpected gift to all of us, and he just did such an exceptional job. And that's just like one example of what he does. Whenever we ask for someone to lead, Luke is raising his hand to help. And I just truly appreciate all of that, and we're so going to miss him next year. He's just been such a wonderful part of our community, so thank you, Luke. All right, so Eleanor Mondak, Ellie, come on up. So Ellie is also, right, they're all exceptional. I can say that over and over again. But what I love about Ellie is she was shocked that she was nominated. Shocked that she was nominated, and then shocked that she was one of the top 5. She is just so humble, and she's just so in the background of everything in the student experience. She's in the Cav closet. She's volunteering for music ministry, just everywhere, without saying like, oh, hey, I'm doing that. Like there she is, and she's helping. And it's just something that really speaks to the servant heart that she has. So thank you for all that you've done. We're gonna miss you. Well, actually, you're gonna be here for next year. She'll still be here in the background, rooting on those that are here. Justin Nienaber, if you can come on up. So Justin, what I love about Justin, he has such a physical presence and doesn't know that he does. So Justin also was just so surprised that he was nominated. And in the top 5, just shocked that he was a top 5 of the Tower. But something that really stands out with Justin, and he spoke to this, is that for him, leadership is where you are called. And so he's not necessarily having his hand in everything that he loves, although he does have his hand in things that he loves. He also is there for a need of where we need or his peers are calling him to lead. And I just love that he spoke into that in his interview, because I think that speaks to his role as a peacemaker on campus, his role as a student athlete, and the work that he's done for track and field, and then just all that he's given to campus ministry and residence life. So thank you, Justin. All right, and then our last finalist is Izzy Rammel. So Isabel Rammel, if you can come on up. Thank you, Luke.
Oh, sorry, I'll just leave.
Yeah. So Izzy, also one of our top 5 finalists. Izzy is one of these student leaders that is also just beloved on campus, and also stepping up where she is needed and called, and just such an integral part of the culture in our athletes, our student athletes on campus. She is the president of SAC, and has done so with just integrity and leadership that all can look to. And then something that really stood out in her interview, Izzy talked about moving forward and taking what she learned here on campus, her faith life, the leadership, and taking that on in her graduate studies. And I just was really impressed with how you spoke to that. So congratulations, Izzy. So then the committee has the really difficult job to choose, like who out of the top 5, and it really is, I mean, you met some of them today. It's really difficult because they all do such wonderful things and do it with such love and care and that servant heart. So the committee spends a lot of time discerning and praying and thinking about who in the selection process will be highlighted and chosen. And so this year, I am very excited and proud to announce that Isabel Rammel is our Tower Award winner. Yes, you can.
Okay. Wait, am I supposed to talk?
You can if you like. You don't have to.
Okay, guys, I'm actually really shocked because I was rooting for Justin personally. I'm just joking. Everybody is so qualified. That's where I was so excited even when I got my nomination email, because my freshman year, we had this really awesome girl on the track team, Sky Stewart, who was involved in everything. She's one of those people who's just, I saw her and I was like, she's good at everything she does. And when she was announced as Tower, I was like, that's so cool. Couldn't be me, but that's so cool. So, I don't know. I'm really in a place of missing Walsh right now already, which is, everybody's telling me not to. My coach keeps telling me stop being nostalgic because you still have a few more weeks left, but I can't even start to say all of the things I'm thankful for in this community here, and I'm so excited for the next step, but I'm thankful that they've made it really hard to say goodbye after all of these years, so thank you guys.
Let's get a picture right back down.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Swords up, everybody. Swords up. Swords up. Got that. And then here as well. Swords up still. Thank you. Thank you.
So they will all be honored at the President's Dinner later this semester as well. So congratulations, you all. Back over to Stephanie.
Can we please give one more round of applause for our alumni panelists and our students? Congratulations. So that concludes the formal event component of this evening. We invite you to stick around, network. If you as a student heard something from an alum that you would inquire more about, please say hello, introduce yourself, say your name. And then write the note down later, right, in that contact. But we thank you all for being here tonight and celebrating the success of our students and our alumni. And we hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.